Hello, everyone, and welcome to Marie's Scrappy Creations, where we sew the scraps of your life into beautiful creations. And I have a friend here today. Welcome, Coleen.
Hi, Marie. Thanks for having me.
I thought it would be fun to have you over in the sewing room. So you stay on your side of the sewing room, and I'll stay on mine.
I'm
I'm
pretty nosy.
teasing.
I'm pretty nosy. I might come over.
So we're recording this on Zoom, and we thought you all might like to sit with us while we sew and chat. And speaking of sewing and chatting, Coleen, why don't you start by telling us about your YouTube channel?
Okay. My YouTube channel is Coleen Sews and Chats because I do both, one more than the other, probably. And I do quilting and whatever else strikes my fancy that I want to try.
Mm-hmm. So you don't just do one type of thing. You just sew anything you want or whatever, like you say.
Yes, I try to stick with quilts because that's really what I want to sew. But sometimes, like I need a container, it's time to sew a container.
Sure. Now, are they tutorials or are they just sew alongs where you're showing people what you're working on, or a little bit of both?
I do tutorials occasionally if I find something original that I think somebody else might benefit from.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to keep it more bring your own projects. That way people have a place to rest from all of the sew-alongs that they're doing.
Yeah. So kind of like what we're doing. We're just working on our own thing and chatting.
Exactly.
So people can come over to your channel, kick back in their recliner, cup of coffee, and yeah, that sounds perfect. That sounds perfect. And I also love that you have been doing some shorts because I haven't done any yet. I really want to, but I saw one the other day and you sounded like a chipmunk, and I was like, she's killing me here. I love it. You're very creative that way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It may have had more to do with how much time I had on that little short. To speed it up until I could shove it into that little short.
Yeah, because I read somewhere you've got 1 minute, and then someone else said actually you've got 58 or 59 seconds. You have to keep it under. Is that true?
I have done them up to 1 minute and been fine.
Huh.
So I haven't had any been kicked back yet.
Right. So when I need technical help with a short, I can come running to you saying,
Gotcha.
What's that?
Tell you what I told the other ladies, though. I am happy to be your tech support, but remember, you get what you pay for if I fail.
So what are you going to be sewing on today? Oh, I should tell everyone what we're going to do is we're just each working on our own thing. This is not a tutorial. We're not going to impart bits of wisdom or any sewing lessons. We are just sitting, sewing our own thing, chatting for your entertainment. Now, we may be entertaining. We just really don't know. At this point, I am going to be sewing some crazy blocks for a swap. I'm in a quilt swap group. So I have my two center pieces, which are coffee related fabric and a little green sewing machine because we need a focal point for the beginning of the block. So what are you going to be working on today?
I am making a wall hanging for my in-laws farmer's market kind of sign. And I decided it would be a brilliant time for me to try applique. I'm trying to applique these. I've tried different stitches. I may have to start over, but that's what I'm going to be doing. Let's see if I can get this close.
Okay. Do you mind me asking a question? Are you using anything behind it? Like when I do applique, I use tearaway stabilizer. It's like a paper.
No, I'm not. But somebody told me that I could use dryer sheets.
You can, yeah.
Actually, I'm going to try that one.
I have tried that, but I'll tell you that for me, and I know your mileage may vary, we're all different, but this stuff right here to me, the tearaway stabilizer, it's like a thick paper. It's made by Pellon. I don't get the puckery, like the little ripples. You know how sometimes you get a ripple? It doesn't cure it completely, so I don't see any ripples on yours, but what I'm saying is, no, I really don't. But, I was getting a lot of that, like the fabric would be wavy, and I was like, well, is it too many stitches in one area? What's doing it? But when I changed to using a stabilizer, and I suppose there's fabric stabilizers too that might work. I mean, maybe a stabilizer is a stabilizer. I really don't know.
Well, I will look at it because I don't know enough to know whether I like something or not until I try it.
Sure, yeah. You could just you could try some paper, just paper.
Oh,
Notebook or computer paper. You could give that a try. I mean, not right on your project, but with a different, like just with a trial.
right. Test one. I did that. That's why I was testing these dryer sheets on this one over here and all the stitches.
Oh,
Because I'm
go. Yeah.
insane
Yeah.
woman. I thought I wanted to use every stitch I have on this. That may be unrealistic now that I've tried it. It's a small word. I can start over if I have to.
Mm-hmm. Ah. So how long have you had a YouTube channel, Coleen, if you don't mind me asking?
My 1 year, official 1 year, was the 18th, but I really started around July.
Oh, I didn't know that. Now I feel bad because I didn't know to.
Well, I decided I wasn't celebrating until July, so I wasn't really going to tell anybody.
Okay, you weren't celebrating till July because of what now?
Well, when I started my YouTube, I didn't want a bunch of strangers.
Okay.
It was just the people in chat. Until July, when I agreed to do a sew along with someone, then I kind of had to be in front of it on my channel because they're like, oh, you need to do it on your channel. No, I don't. I really don't. But then I get
well there. Yeah, so we've been doing it about the same amount of time then, haven't we?
Yes, we
We're
have.
like YouTube twins. That's what we are. And we both love to chat.
Yes, we do.
Don't we?
I am unashamed. I'm not ashamed.
Yeah, it's funny when I first started my channel, I remember saying, if you don't like chatty, you're not gonna like my videos. But I chat on the What's Up Wednesday or on a live of some type, but on the tutorials I try not. A few of them in the beginning were chattier than some now, but I try to just stick to my point now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not always successful. I'm going to say it right now. I am who I am.
I go off track so easily. My lives, I go in, I have no intent really on what I'm going to do.
I don't either. Wing it. Yeah. Sure.
It's less stressful that way too.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And lately I have been writing myself notes, like it might say word of the day, fabric from Martin's, blah, 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 because I'll get on there and I'll get chatting about something and I forget to tell them what I wanted to tell them originally. So yeah. Oh, isn't this pretty? I'm going to incorporate this into my block. I love that fabric.
Very pretty.
Because I don't have anything prepped for today, of course. I'm just winging it as usual.
Well, if this goes downhill, I will resort to sewing scrap pieces together randomly.
Okay. Okay.
How bad
Are
could it
you
be?
threatening me? Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
I forgot to turn my iron off and it's beeping. That's the reason I got my little one out, so that wouldn't happen, and I forgot to shut it off. So what other projects do you have? Do you have multiple projects going, or do you just have one at a time, Coleen?
For this one, I'm trying not to do anything else. I do have another thing that me and some other ladies are going to try to do. Just a quick wall hanging together, but I don't even have to start that. So right now, my one goal is to get this done before the farmer's market. because I have
Okay.
chronic stuff and I can't always sew all day, no matter how much I want to.
Yeah, sometimes there's real life.
Yeah. Yep. So
I was
true.
saying that to a friend. I'm like, I just got done doing dishes and I have to cook supper. I said, don't you hate it when life gets in the way of sewing?
It's just not fair.
No.
That's what
Well,
it is.
what it is for me, I think, is it takes me so long in the day to get to the point where I'm actually sewing or feel up to sewing that by the time I get started, it's time to do something else like cook supper or something. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But, oh well. You learn
You
to cope.
get older and your bodies fight you every step of the way.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Old lady syndrome or something. I don't know what I'd call it, but something like that. I didn't think this out very well.
I was thinking that exact same thing when I looked at this just now.
So we're not alone.
I'm gonna finish it, but I don't like it.
Well, I have all these scraps and that's what I should be using is scraps, but now I'm trying to make them match. And we all know that you just should not do that with scraps. It's scrappy for a reason. So this is what I use. I have this bin from the dollar store. And when it comes off the end, I clip it, it goes in here. And then I have buckets, like that cat litter comes in, the tidy cat litter, the tidy cat. Anyway, because those are great. Once they're empty, you wash those out with hot soapy water. There's no, you would think that like the scent of the cat litter scent would, but it doesn't stay in there. But anyway, I literally have like 10 or 11 of those. I have bags on top of that. And then I have a few boxes of scraps. So yes, your expression is, yeah. So when I first started my channel, my little words were, I'm going to challenge myself. And I totally meant this at the time. I kept saying it in my first few videos. I'm going to challenge myself to use as many of my scraps as I can in as many different projects as I can to try to whittle down the number of scraps I had. Well, Coleen, I have more scraps now than what I had, but it's been fun.
I really don't understand how, but they do.
Yeah, they multiply. They absolutely do.
You see, while in my mind you have a lot of scraps, in your mind this is going to freak you out a little bit.
Okay, I'm ready to be freaked. Like what's that?
I have 2 bags like this. That's my scraps.
I don't even know if we can be friends, Coleen. I don't even know if we can be friends if that's all you have for scraps. No, but you do well.
I didn't keep as many scraps when I first started. But now anything an inch, I try to hang on to. Because
yeah, that's what I do. Anything larger than an inch.
And
do you like to crumb piece? I love to crumb piece.
I don't know that I crumb piece. I just sew them all together.
Well, that's kind of, yeah, sure. So you just match pieces and yeah.
See, I don't know all the things.
All the terms, right?
Yeah.
Well, I see. Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's why I have such smart friends.
You're relying on them.
I really am. That could be a problem.
I figured I'd grab in my scrap bin here and grab a few strips. It's probably time to make postcards again because those I really like to make them and I can whip up quite a few with scraps. Of course, it doesn't whittle down the scrap pile very much because a postcard is a very small piece of fabric or it takes very small pieces.
Yeah, I'm going to have the ridiculous question because I honestly don't know. It's not something I've looked into. I've seen you do them and I've seen some of my other friends do them. Are they just a very pretty decoration?
Nope. mail them.
Oh,
Yeah, I have these. I'll put the link down below for anyone who has the same question as Colleen just had. But basically what happens is you know how they're made. You've got a piece of cardstock, and then you've got what you're working with is a piece of quilt batting and your fabric, and then you glue it onto the cardstock, and then you sew a decorative stitch around the outside. So it's basically 4 by 6 is what they're normally cut at. And I have these clear envelopes that I put them in. And then you have like a sticker, an address label, just one of those like 2 by 3 little labels. And so I'd write to Colleen from Marie. I'd put your address on there. You stick a stamp on it, and into the mail it goes.
That is adorable.
Send me your address by my email, and I will send you one so that you can see. Okay? And,
You do them. I've seen them shown, but I really didn't know what you did with them.
yeah. Yeah. And if people don't want to go to the expense of, say, buying the clear envelopes, because that's what's fun to me, because I put the pretty side out, you know, like one of my subscribers made me this just recently. So I have this one. And see, I would leave this side out, and then the label would go on this side, so that along the way, the postal workers would see this. And, you know, when it first arrives, that's the first thing the person sees is this.
That is so adorable.
Look at all those little tiny pieces of fabric though, Colleen. Isn't that, it's mind blowing. There's so many different things you can do with that.
Gosh, that is so cute. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my to-do list needs to get longer.
But I would love to gift you one. So just, like I said, just email me your address and tell me what your favorite colors are. And I know a woman who can make it happen, Colleen. I have connections.
I don't know friends. I don't have friends in high places, but I have friends who have friends in high places, it turns out.
Well, that's just as good by the sounds of it. Okay, I think I finally got enough scraps ready.
I want to say, because I ask ridiculous questions. I'm aware that.
Oh, no, it's not ridiculous. I just had a subscriber ask that underneath the postcard video. She said something like, these are cute.
Because I think, how ridiculous do they think I am? I have a YouTube channel. I sew, and I don't know what these things are.
It's not ridiculous, though. It's just something that you don't know. It really, there's not a thing wrong with that. You just didn't know.
How do you know until you ask?
That's right. You have to ask. It's the only way you'll know. I've got all these little scraps of like sewing themed fabric, and I was just thinking I should put them all together and make like a throw pillow or something, just a collage of
that would be cute.
Pieces. That would be kind of cute. But yeah, see, I say little pieces like this. This is postcard stuff. Also, what is good for them is your selvage edges are great to save for the postcards as well. All right, I think I've dug through that enough. I have pieces to start with. And postcards are so fun, as far as I'm concerned. I think they're just so fun to make because you can embellish them with little bits of lace or rickrack, or a lot of times I will take one, this isn't a good one, but say I wanted to put this word, I'll use Heat and Bond light on the back, and then I'll make my postcard, and then I'll put that on there and stitch it down. And or a selvage edge, use, you know, just put it across here and stitch it down, because sometimes they say some cute things or have like little thread spools, or you just never know what's going to be on a selvage. So they really perk up a postcard. They really do.
My mind is wanting to switch gears to doing that
Yeah,
so
see,
badly right
I
now.
know, I'm leading you down the rabbit hole. I'm just warning you right now. Right now.
Supposed to be making, well, I said I would make a tablecloth to go with this wall hanging.
Oh, yeah.
My bonus mom is like, make the wall hanging, then you can make some stuff to put in the booth. And I was like,
Hmm.
oh, I don't think we want me to do that. Let's just
I
say,
like that bonus mom. That's cute. That's cute.
well, you know, with some people, and I got to say, me, you hear like stepmom or mother-in-law.
Hmm.
Nice isn't the first word that comes to your mind if you grew up with Cinderella.
Right,
Or,
right.
I can't think of the other ones.
No, I understand because all those fairy tale things would lead you to believe that stepmom is not,
Oh,
you know, because it's like it's been 32 years since my husband and I have been together. But if we send like, well, I hate to say it, but let's say his oldest daughter, I don't think of it that way. That's our daughter, even though I did not give birth to her. Okay, so, but I still usually sign the cards, Dad and Marie. Just simply, that's just what we do. But like the grandchildren, they don't know, they don't realize it's never been any different for them. But yeah, when you hear the word stepmom or stepdad, it seems like a negative
yeah.
connotation that most people go to.
I'll tell you, I had one of the best bonus moms. I
Mhm.
made this last night. I did the first two letters and I sent her a picture and I was like, oh, that's just not gonna work for me. That's not gonna work for me. And she calls me back. She says, don't you dare take that out. Okay. I won't.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is nice when you have good relationships because, you know, we do too. We really do. And it's awesome. It really is. Because especially at first, you know, I always tell people I felt like someone threw me in the deep end of the pool. I was 26 years old and when I met my husband, and I had 3 children under the age of 8. He had 5 kids and 3 of them were under the age of 8. So we had 6 kids under the age of 8. Between 3 and 8 when we met, we had 6 kids in that age range and 2 teenagers.
Wow.
And I was 26.
That's about, I'm looking at my husband for confirmation because I have to do the math. That's about how old we were when we met, and we were blended too. He
Yeah.
had 2 boys, I had 2 boys, then we had 1 boy.
Oh, you had one together, yeah. Yeah.
And our youngest is 10 years from the oldest. It was
I see.
10. He had a 10, I had a 9. We both had an 8. And then
Yeah.
what?
Well, we had like 2 that were born in 82, 1 in 83, 84, 85. You know, it went like that. It was really funny.
Yeah.
So, but they all grew up together, and you know, it was just everybody used to say, "Oh, it's like the Brady Bunch," and I'd be like, "No, not really, not really, kind of, but not really."
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I really do. Well, and everybody is like, Coleen, you're taking care of 5 children. And they're all little. And I was like,
Yep.
taking care of 5 really wasn't much different than taking care of 2 rambunctious ones.
Right.
They actually
Yeah.
kept each other a little bit busy.
Yeah. School vacations were busy times, summer vacations and all that, but
We lived in the country the whole time. And there was
yeah,
a creek
we
down
did
the road.
too. Yeah.
Or, you know, those of us who say it right, a creek that the kids went down to. And they could go down there by themselves. I didn't have to supervise. I walked down there with them when they were a little bit younger, but as they got older, they got to go out there. And of course,
Yeah.
none of the neighbors cared what they did
Huh.
because they were, you know, they didn't go out destroying anything. So they got to be little wild children out of my hair so I could get some cleaning done just so I could re-clean it when they got home.
Yeah. Well, we did a lot of growing our own food. We like I say, we did live in the country and we gardened and I did canning and made all our own bread and did all that, like just a lot. I had a pressure canner, so I canned everything from vegetables to meats, jams, pickles, jellies. We had a raspberry patch that was just a really nice one, like, because we were
Wow.
living in the house my husband had grown up in, and the raspberries had been there for years, so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I just like that. I changed the way I'm stitching it.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I said, well, I just like what I've done, so I'm going to change the way I'm stitching it.
Oh,
I believe that's another day's worry, so I am going to change the scraps. Start cutting scraps.
well, I have my first 2 pieces sewn, but.
It's very calming just to not have a certain way it has to go when you're doing
Yes,
scraps.
yes, I understand that. As the saying goes, I feel that. I do. I understand exactly what you mean.
I thought it was stressful for a while until I stopped trying to make them fit like I thought they should fit with colors that I thought that should go.
Yeah, just let it be what it's going to be. It's kind of like letting the fabric do its own thing.
Right.
Yep. And normally I don't put this much thought into a crazy block, but here I am, and that's what we're doing.
I don't wear this shirt for nothing. Let me overthink this.
Yeah, I love your shirt. In case anyone hasn't seen it, her shirt says, "Let me overthink this." And I told her that I understand that. I do.
If they had them in my bonus mom size, she would have gotten one too, because I was like, oh, that is so.
Yeah, I like that. It's like I was thinking if I don't know how to do a t-shirt on my Cricut, and I know it's a matter of learning, but I really want to learn because I have t-shirts that say be kind that I bought, but I have this little thing that I end all my videos with, and I would like to have it on a t-shirt.
That would be very cute.
Yeah, be
You know, I
kind,
had
helpful. The world needs more of that.
Yes, I love that. I love you're saying that. And it's not lost on me that that's on your emails too.
Oh yeah, my signature line. I knew you could do that in Yahoo Mail, but I couldn't figure it. I am not
I've never tried
technologically
it.
savvy, but there is a way to do it, and I figured it out. I did. I don't know how to do it on other brands of email, but I can do it on Yahoo. Yahoo!
I got a t-shirt the other day. I found one that said it. I may order 2, even though they're the same shirt. They don't have them in different colors, but it says "Be the light."
Oh yes, yeah,
Say it,
nice.
"Be the light you hope to
Yeah.
see in others."
Yeah, yeah,
Guys,
I heard you say that. Yeah,
need these on t-shirts.
yeah. Maybe we should go into the t-shirt business instead of the YouTube business, Coleen.
We should. We say the nicest things.
Right? We're nice people.
Whoops.
Oh. Yeah, I went out today to Martin's and I went over there specifically for Harry Potter fabric that they had there the last time I was there. They had it in little packets like this. And they're 1-yard cuts for $2.49. So I had originally purchased 2 different Star Wars, well, because that's all there was 2, and 2 Harry Potter. And then I thought, wow, I should have got more of that Harry Potter. Not that I'm into it, but I know it's quite popular. And Martin's has a slogan or a whatever you want to call it, and their little jingle, which I cannot sing, so I will not torture you, but it says I should have bought it when I saw it at Martin's. And there's a reason that that's their motto, because they're not a store like any other, because if they have something in stock, that doesn't mean that they're going to have it next week or that they'll ever get it again, because they're a surplus and salvage store. So they buy it in bulk when they get a good deal on something. So, yeah, you can't guarantee that you'll ever see it again. But I did go in and I grabbed another one from each of the Star Wars fabrics, because I figured people might like stuff done in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I found some other fabrics that I probably could have lived without, but I'm not living without now.
Not going to say that she showed me, but she didn't keep them from me.
So what's your, I don't want to use the word addiction, but like if you go see fabric, what are you drawn to the most for fabrics? Like what's the thing that you have the hardest time staying away from or not buying?
Panels in general.
And
Not really fabrics, but panels.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I like panels.
I used to buy a lot of them, but I wasn't using them up as quickly as I was buying them. So.
I'm having that problem.
But panels are great because you can do a lot with them. There's a lot of different things you can do with them. You know, you could turn them into an apron. They could be the center of a quilt. You could make an attic window quilt. It was just a million things.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I don't usually go in because I have such little space to put stuff. I don't usually go in. I say usually because I did find the sale rack at my local quilt shop that may change this without any idea of what I'm working on.
mm-hmm.
So I have a pretty good idea usually when I go into the store what I'm looking for. So I'm not just looking for whatever.
Yeah, because that can get so that you spend more than, like today when I went into Martin's, I knew that I wanted something sewing related.
Mm-hmm.
And I also knew that I was looking for the Harry Potter, but I can't, and I did get a sewing related fabric. I did. I got other things, but I did get that, so I wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. So tell me, what do you have coming up for videos? What type of videos do you do the most, or what do you like to do the most of? Enjoy the most, I guess.
I do enjoy it's called the Quilt Builders card deck.
Okay, you can tell I don't know anything about that. That's
so
foreign to me.
I'm absolutely sure we won't get in trouble for it. It has different cards with different blocks on it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I like finding an easy one and seeing if I can make it work with fabric sizes that I have, because I usually buy charm packs or 2.5-inch strips.
Okay.
That would be what I want when I go into the store every time.
I see. Okay.
But I like doing an easy one on Monday. Right now it's all about this thing till I get done, but I'm going to go back to those. I just like an easy to do block on Monday that's easy to show. I can do within the hour.
Mm-hmm. So that's how long you give yourself, an hour?
I try, but
you try.
I'm not good at saying, okay, I've been here an hour. Let's say goodbye.
It's tough. It really is, because you've got people in your chat, and they might be chatting amongst themselves, or they might be asking you questions. And let's face it, it's fun chatting with all these people.
It absolutely is.
Yeah. So it makes it hard to say, well, I'm going to end in an hour. I mean, the only days I find it easy to do that is if I have an appointment or something like that, and I really have to go.
My husband same time during his breaks, 3 times a day, every day. So I know that I will be off at least by then. Because I start at 6:30 Central Time right now. That gives me 2 hours before I absolutely have to be off, which is more than enough time than I should be on there.
I should. Wow.
Especially when somebody just gets on and you're like, oh,
I know. Yeah, that's usually me at the end of your lives. Because when you and Melissa, it seems like I'll turn on YouTube because I never remember when people's live streams are. I just don't. And I'll turn on YouTube and it will say, then the notification will pop up on my phone when I get on YouTube and it will say, Coleen is going live, and it will be like 48 minutes ago. Oh, okay, well, maybe she's still there, and then I'll get in there. And, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's 48, I'm just saying, that's just, but the same thing happens to me with Melissa and with a few others, so.
Well, on yours are usually happen to be, and I know you do them at different times sometimes, just so you can accommodate more people.
Well, sometimes I do especially on the quilt along ones, but the Wednesdays I try to really keep them to 10 a.m. Eastern time because because I was going to try at the very beginning when I first started doing a live What's Up Wednesday, because I used to film them and edit and do all that. But when I first started doing them live, that's what I was going to do, was do one at 10 and then do one at 4 p.m. and then whatever. But people were really confused, so I couldn't do it that way. It didn't work out, but like I have a block 11 of the quilt along coming up, and I tend to do those around 6 in the evening, somewhere in there, simply because a lot of people are done work, or I mean, people over, say, in England, that 6 o'clock, that's 10 or 11, depending.
Yeah, I've got a couple friends in the UK.
Yeah. So, and then you've got Australia, and they're, is it 15 hours or 14? It changes because of our spring ahead, fall back. So
right.
I had all the times in my head, but now I don't. Now I don't. But it's hard to accommodate everyone, but I certainly wish I could, because and I could do more. Like I always say, one of these times when I wake up, I'm going to do it, because yesterday morning I was up at 1 in the morning, just awake.
And there are people like the UK and Australia and even in the US that would be willing to get on and see.
Yeah. And so that's what I've told everybody. I was like, I'm going to surprise you guys one of these days, and I'm just going to wake up and, of course, I'll probably change from my jammies and all that. Wouldn't want to scare anyone, but. Yeah, I'm really tired today. I can feel it. My eyes even feel like sandbags or something. I'm tired. But my husband and I went out shopping today too, and that always tires me. I'm an old lady.
I've been telling that to people for years. I'm old. Leave me alone.
It happens. Well, I know you're a lot younger than I am, Coleen, so.
Most of my friends say that. It's hard to get away with that. Your friends seem to be a little bit older than you. My kids don't know it yet, though.
They don't know what?
They don't know that I'm not actually that old.
Oh, I see.
The lie will continue.
So, nosy question, you do not have to answer, but how many children do you have?
I have 4. We have 4 together.
Yeah. We didn't have any together, like we each brought children to the marriage, but
that's what I mean, combined we have 4.
Right, yeah, I'm just saying, I know you said you had one. We did not. Although one of his children, I hear all the time, they think that she's my kid because she has dark hair and just her features, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's nice though.
yeah.
You don't get weird questions like, they don't look like you. And of course, my husband has very strong genes, so luckily he doesn't get to go anywhere that they don't look like him. In fact, we went to a thing and there were some people from high school
Mhm.
that knew him and they have, you know, a decent relationship. It's not like that we hate each other, we can't be in the same room. So, you know,
Right.
and one of their friends from high school looked at my youngest, our youngest, and says, points at me and says, I don't know who you are, but I know that one's Tim's. That is correct. And I'm that one's mother.
Yeah.
It made me laugh.
Yeah. Well, it's like our youngest ones were 2 and 3 when we got together. So it's not like they remember a whole lot before, you know, so that makes a difference too in what the kids remember, not just other people, but and it's funny because statistically, we, as in you and I, we are beating the odds because it's like second marriages have a failure rate of whatever it is. And when there's blended families, the rate goes, you know, all these different things that can affect, you know, it's like for he and I, we just celebrated 32 years together. So those numbers didn't apply to us, you know.
This is our 23rd.
Wow. Yeah. Congratulations. And it is amazing
One of us
because
plans on going anywhere.
yeah.
He knows I joke.
Because it's not always easy. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot to deal with because like for us, we were dealing with ex-spouses, and that was not always rosy. And that's all I'm going to say on that. You're dealing with different parenting methods, you're dealing with weekends and child support and alimony and this, that, and the other. So there's so many things thrown into the mix that go above and beyond relationship and
it's the mom and it's the dad in charge of their house.
Mm-hmm.
When you have exes and your children are still little, it feels like everybody's got to say.
Yeah.
And you got to listen.
I understand what you're saying. I do.
Luckily, his is very nice. I actually like her. Don't tell anybody because, you know, wives aren't supposed to like the exes. Is that the cool way to be? Whoops.
Well, like one of my friends now, how I met her was she used to be best friends with my husband's ex-wife.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. That was different.
I was going to say, that's interesting.
Gotta keep it interesting, right?
Yeah.
So how's your project coming along as we're chatting?
I'm getting a lot of these sewn together and I like it because it's relaxing me. I was a little uptight after that feeling, what I thought I had in my head to do to it.
Yeah.
It go my way. And so now every muscle in my body is tensing up saying it should have.
Oh, that's not good to tense.
So the scraps it doesn't matter. There is no my way to go with them. And I'm happy.
Well, good. I'm glad that you're happy.
And when I have a giant piece of fabric made out of these, I'll make it into something else. Very scrap.
I had a friend that used to say, I don't understand quilting. You take perfectly good fabric and you cut it up to sew it together to make a perfectly good fabric.
Exactly.
You got me there.
That's when you look at it and say, so you do understand.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'll show you here in a minute how mine is coming along. I'm getting there, but the coffee fabric in the center, right now, I'm not loving it. I probably could have made a different choice, but it might end up, when all is said and done, it might end up better. Because sometimes with fabric, you just have to keep going on these crazy blocks, and then when you get it together, it all looks good. I'm overthinking it, Coleen. Overthinking.
I ordered some charm packs that, and I've told the story before, so if somebody's seen me, they've heard me say this, and I apologize for repeating myself, but they were so pretty. I didn't like them. And I could not figure out why I did not like them. When I put them in with some more pastel-y colors than what they were, it made a beautiful little girl quilt. And it's one of my favorite quilts I've ever made.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. You just had to get it with the right. Yeah. Okay, now these are trimmed. So I've gone 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 pieces around. So there's the how the sewing machine center is working. And then the coffee piece.
Those are beautiful.
I'll keep going. I'm just not, and I know they're scrappy, but I'm being a little bit hard on myself on this one because it doesn't seem like it matches, but it's not supposed to match. But yet, we'll see, the orange goes with the orange letters, and there is red in there, so.
From over here, it feels like it's blending.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. I hope it is. But sometimes, like I said, I have to wait until it's bigger. So I know, yeah.
There's lots of times I find it. I usually say things like, I'm too close to it.
Yes,
I'm too close to
that's
it.
true.
That it's fine.
Yeah, that can have a lot of effect on how we view what we're looking at or working on. Oh, now see this one? It's going to be perfect here now. Now see, I'm liking that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll find that one on the coffee, but that's a perfect example of it. I have to see it. It's like it has to pop out at me. I don't know how else to verbalize it, but now it's beginning to speak to me. So what's your favorite size quilt to make, Coleen?
A little bit bigger than the standard lap.
Uh-huh.
I think I usually make them around 60 by 70, about 65 by 75.
That's a good size quilt. I like that. I like that. Yeah.
It works for the tall guys in the family really well. Even though it looks like it belongs on a bed.
I have a little quilt I've got to make. Actually, I have 2 quilts. I have some clothes that our grandson played a lot of sports in high school, and he's in his first year of college right now. And our daughter gave me all kinds of shirts of his, and I'm going to make a t-shirt quilt style.
I was talking about that thing today. I said, I used to have lots of t-shirts of yours from all the classes in school. Every year they got t-shirts.
Yeah.
And about 3 years before I started sewing, I decided I was never going to sew.
Oh no. Don't say it.
Good. I got rid of every one of them, and I didn't feel bad about it until I learned to sew, and I was like, oh.
So you haven't always sewn?
No. Until then, like so many other people, when it was a necessity, my husband made masks.
Oh, really?
Had to figure it out. And then my sister-in-law, the genius that she is, I love my sister-in-laws. One of my sister-in-laws, I was making masks for her too, and I wasn't great at it. She appreciated it though, because you couldn't get them anywhere else.
Sure. Yeah.
She said she had some fabric that I was welcome to. I was like, sure, because I'm using t-shirts. Didn't you know you might want something better than a t-shirt? And she gave me this fabric and I was like, oh, see, now I feel bad because it came from the same line. So it's many pieces of one line. It was like 4 or 5 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was about a yard each. And I was like, this belongs in a blanket together, in a quilt.
Aw, yeah.
I wonder if I could put that together. That's how it started. I want to see
very
it.
innocently.
My sister-in-law didn't care what I did with it.
Yeah. And that's good because you didn't have any kind of pressure or expectation.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'd actually had a machine for 20 years and I didn't know how to use it. That's okay. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
I had a machine for 20 years. I got it out of the box. I looked at the manual. I didn't understand it. It was gibberish. I remembered from home ec how you make it go.
How you make it go. I love it.
How to make it go. I made it go good enough to make just some very basic curtains for a little bitty window we had. All I had to do was cover the raw edge. That's all I had to do.
Hey, you know.
I figured that out and then never touched it again. Boy, that was a pain.
Well, it's like I've said, people say, oh, well, what was your first quilt pattern? I'm like, my first quilt pattern? I went to the fabric store. Actually, it was a fabric mill is what it was called, and they sold fabric by the pound because
oh wow,
they actually made the fabric there, so that's what you got. But anyway, I bought panels. So I bought one that looked like squares of baby fabric, and I bought that, and I bought some batting and a piece of fabric for the back, and I sandwiched it all together and sewed around the edges and flipped it right side out, stitched it down and called it a quilt. That was my first one and it was just a panel. It was a pre-made panel. But from there I went to, I still have the book, and it's called Let's Make a Patchwork Quilt, and I got it and thought, I can do this. Well, this was before the internet. I didn't even have a phone, so I couldn't even call my mother and say, hey, Mom, how do I do this or that? Because my mother sewed, even though she didn't make quilts at the time. She could have helped. But either way, I was winging it. So I did a sampler quilt with 12 blocks. I didn't have a clue what I was doing, and all I had was that book. If it wasn't in that book, I wasn't going to learn it, you know. So I got all done, and I realized that they had this sashing between their blocks. So I am not even kidding you, Coleen. This is what happened. So let's say these are my squares. I already had them sewn together. So what did I do? I'm telling on myself. I took my sashing fabric and sewed it right on top, just to square it up.
I doing something like that.
Yeah, so then part of my designs were being covered by the sashing. That was my first one. So, yeah. I've come a long way, baby. But we all start somewhere, you know.
My first one, I finally decided, actually, the very first one, it was complete practice. I don't even count it as my first one, but some people would say, yes, it counts. No, it doesn't. That was the green fabric that my sister-in-law gave me, shades of green, which the purple one in back of me, it has many of those fabrics in it.
Okay, yeah.
But the next one, I had watched Jenny Doan.
Oh, she's a sweetheart, isn't she?
And she makes it look so easy. Even the
she does. She does.
Her. I was like, okay, I'm going to take some squares and put them together.
Yeah.
Cut them apart, make a big old star. And oh, that was the awfulest thing you'd ever seen. But I'm telling you.
Yeah, but you were off to the races though, weren't you?
I was.
See, that's it.
I was determined that I could do this. I don't know why. I thought I could learn anything else, but for some reason, and when I was in home ec, oh, that poor teacher. That poor teacher. This girl did not have any nails. I know she wanted to fail me on the fact that I bit my nails alone. Also, that I did have one up on another girl. At least I could do dishes, and I could read it. I could read to cook. I didn't have any interest in it, so I wasn't going to do any more than the basics. And we were given things to sew. Thank goodness my mom could sew. She helped. She didn't do it for me. She did help.
Yeah.
I don't remember anything she did though, because I just wanted to get over with so I could go outside and play football. I tag with boys because I have a brother that's older than me and a brother that's younger than me.
Yeah. So you were,
I was a tomboy.
Yeah.
And my mom, I wanted to put a flannel backing on a knitted blanket I made one time. Oh my gosh. That was good.
It's funny you say that because my first sewing project in home ec, the assignment was we needed to make a piece of clothing and we could choose whatever we wanted it to be.
Oh, I remember that.
So my mother took me to the store to get the pattern and the fabric. And what did I pick out but a sweatshirt that had lettering on it, kind of like what you're doing. So I can't remember what the lettering was, but she said, you don't want your first project to be with a stretch fabric. And I'm like, that's not a stretch fabric, Mom. Who knows more about it? She does, but I'm a teenager, and what teenager doesn't think they know everything? I said, that's not stretch fabric, Mom, it's sweatshirt fabric. And she said, you're not going to be happy because it's more difficult than what you think it is to work with that stuff. Well, I knew better, so we got the pattern, and it did not go very well. Now, my mom did help me, but as much as I hated to admit, she was exactly right. I should never have picked a stretch fabric project for my first
doing shorts. They were like really baggy shorts out of this. It was pretty fabric, just not in the shorts that I made. I was like, I would wear that. It was a black and gold paisley. That's how bad it was. I remember what it was. They were never worn.
Never worn.
I don't think they could be.
But you finished them, I take it.
I did. I finished them somehow.
Yeah.
I don't remember a bit of it.
I don't remember a lot about the sweatshirt. It didn't turn out really very well, but yeah.
Oh.
But my mother sewed a lot of clothes.
Mine does too. She'll tell you she can't sew, but she can.
Oh yeah, see, my mom sewed all of our clothes, and back in the late 60s, early 70s, smock tops, that's what they called them. And they kind of looked like the pregnancy shirts because they fell off your shoulders and then they kind of ballooned out. And they were called a smock top, and they were adorable. Well, she used to make us those, and I remember one specific one she made for me, and I would have been about 11, and it was made out of Wizard of Oz fabric, because I can remember Dorothy and the Tin Man on it, and I loved that shirt. But she would make clothes for our Barbie dolls and baby dolls and things, and looking back, Coleen, how tiny of stitches to make elastic wrist on our Barbie doll clothes. Like, she sewed all that. Plus, she worked a full-time job, so I don't know how she did it. I really don't.
Until we were old enough to talk, as my mom put it, to talk and tell if somebody was being mean to us, she stayed home.
I say, yeah.
That I remember she made little dresses. I remember little dresses that she made me and my sister.
Yeah.
I guess the boys didn't get stuff made for them. But they. But I imagine they get pajama bottoms now. Now that's something my mother and my bonus mom gave me a ton of flannels and a serger.
Flannel and what?
A serger.
Oh, a serger. Gotcha. Yep.
She didn't use it anymore, and she wanted it to go somewhere that it would be used. And I don't know how to use it, but I'm going to figure it out. And the first thing I make will be pajama bottoms.
I've never owned a serger. I've never sewn with a serger. And I don't know, given the type of things that I sew, I don't know if it would be anything that I would use. You know what I mean? Because I don't sew clothing. And
Told by my friends constantly that I will use it all the time once I learn it. And I don't, maybe, well, for bags and stuff, I can see how finishing the raw edges, so you don't have to worry about that.
right.
But I don't know if that would be enough, because I like to make like boxes,
Yeah.
stuff like that, but I don't know if I'd like to make them enough to, you know,
To
justify
make
it.
it work. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
I understand what you mean.
And I was going to ask you something since I had my spray out here. Do you, and I should know this because I do watch you. I'm watching your hands in the fabric though more. Do you use starch? Nope, you've got a can back
I
there.
use sizing. I use sizing.
Now there is a difference between sizing and starch, right?
There is. There is.
I heard you talk about
Starch to me. Now this is my opinion. Okay, this might not even be fact. This is Mariology. The reason I do not like to use starch is because number one, it makes the fabric heavier than what the sizing does. It's thicker.
Right.
Number two, it tends to flake easier. And I did a tutorial on this, and I understand it's the same thing with starch as it is with the sizing, but when you spray, you got to let it set a couple of seconds. You can't just slap your iron on there because number one, your iron will stick to the fabric and you'll be picking it up. But okay, you know, when you first buy fabric, it has kind of it's not stiff, but it has a feel to it, a drape. And then after you've washed it, it softens up. Well, sizing is what is in that fabric to make it feel that way. So that's what this does. Now, I do not quilt anything that has not been sized because my seams are more perfect. My points are more perfect when you use sizing or starch before you cut any quilt piece.
Right.
I've passed that on to people who said, I've been quilting for years and that's ridiculous. And then they came back and they're like, oh.
I had heard you say something about that, but it was on a day that I didn't get to catch exactly what you said. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And especially like for a beginner, it really does. It can make the difference between being discouraged by points not meeting or whatever, because
Absolutely.
you don't want a beginner to start out and say, you know, oh, I want to make this, and then have, if their seams don't meet or whatever, they get discouraged. They might never go back to it.
That's what I was telling somebody about FPP.
Yes.
And had I starched or sized either one before I started that, and that's one of the first things that the person who taught me told me.
Mm-hmm.
Use some starch on it. It makes it easier to work with. And I didn't do it because I don't know if I'm cheap or just lazy, but one of those got me. But I had then I bought Best Press. And this,
yeah, I've heard of that. I've never used it, but
I don't like the super stiff stuff, so I'm thinking I may like the stuff that you use.
well, it's about a little over $1.
Yeah, that's
you
not
can
bad.
get it at Dollar Tree for $1.25. So
Well, that's not bad at all.
yeah, but Walmart, I think it's $1.39. Maybe it's $1.69 now. I don't really remember, but it used to be, even a couple of years ago, it was right about $1.09 at Walmart or something like that. Some crazy price.
Well, maybe in the genius I am, didn't think to get a little bit of this stuff before I decide whether I like it or not. Stay Flow.
Yeah, starch.
I've got it in a misting bottle.
Yeah.
Stay Flow is what I'm using, and I had to keep watering it down past.
Yeah, because it's starch.
Yeah.
Stay flow is starch, I believe.
And I did not know that about not putting your iron on it immediately after you put the,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this is horrible.
Yeah.
Why would it, how does anybody use this? This sticks
Yeah.
to, it's sticking.
Yeah, you just, and then you gotta let it set. And even
Good tip.
between sizing and starch, I would leave starch a little bit longer. I leave it like 10 seconds personally.
Oh,
Yeah, for best results, I would think. But that's me. As I always say,
well, I'm just
whatever.
doing experimental, so
Yeah,
I'm willing to try.
but
That's
I've
why I
never
asked.
tried the best press. I've heard about it, but I've never tried it. I don't know if it would, for me, be worth the money based on, I love this stuff. So, and I already know how cheap this is. So.
I've used Best Press, and I think something like what you're using, or even the Stay Flow, I think I like it better.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the things I heard, and I couldn't find that this was fact or not, but one of the things I heard is that starch will attract bugs.
Mm.
And
I don't know about that, but
haven't had
I'm in northern Maine. Bugs have a very short shelf life here because it gets too cold for them. I don't know, that could be, Colleen. I really don't know.
Well, I haven't seen it. Let's hope it stays that way. Relatively new, but
Yeah.
only one way to find out.
Well, we have been, believe it or not, we have been about an hour chit-chatting here, and this is fun. But you know, people might get a little tired of me going yak, 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 and asking you all these silly questions. But I think we've had a great time. And one thing I want to say, I'm not going to like wrap it up this very second, but one thing I want to say to any of you who have not visited Coleen, her link is going to be below, and her channel name is Coleen Sews and Chats, because she does sew and she has some incredible projects. You never know what she's going to be up to over there. And she does live streams and she does shorts, and she doesn't always talk like a chipmunk, I promise. No, one of them, the voice is going very quickly, and that's what I'm talking about. So this will play on my channel, and I believe I will share it with you, and you can share it on your channel. So we'll both put it out there to our subscribers. So certainly check her channel out if you haven't already. I think you will be pleasantly surprised. So.
And when this is up on my channel, absolutely check Marie out in case they haven't heard me say it a few hundred times before.
A couple. Yeah, well, I want to thank you so much, Coleen. It's been really fun because I love to have company in my sewing room. I mean, yeah, I know it's virtual and all that, but it's always good to chat, sew together. You know, you named your channel after it. You already know what it's like, but it's always good to have company in the sewing room. And
it is, and have something in common.
There's always something to talk about.
Always.
So everyone who has joined us, thank you so much. And I hope that you enjoyed yourself just listening to us talk and work on our projects. And until next time, be kind out there. The world needs more of that. And I'll see you next time. And Coleen, what's your ender?
Be the light you want to see in others.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Take care.